This is the Cutting Edge on IRFM on next Wednesday night. We're there with you on the Black History Month, you know. Because you know, so we not left it. Everybody like them want to run left it. But we not left Black History Month because that's the only time we can dig deep into the hearts and souls of the Jamaican people. Them. Remember one politician, to name him Damian Crawford, they just say Black History Month not relevant in Jamaica because it's an American thing, and it was done because black people is a minority in America and them the need for have a Black History Month. And we are say non-apologetically that the same thing will reach the black people them in America not knowing them history. It's not because them it's not because them have white people in front of them. Because we don't have no white people in front of we don't know nothing about black history. We don't know nothing about our ancestor legacy. We don't know about Egypt, Ethiopia, Ghana, Senegal, Gambia, you name them. We don't know nothing about them. We don't know about the people them who bring us to this part here. We reach us up, we ancestors where they stand up and fight. We don't know nothing. We don't even know nothing about Marcus Garvey. And see that Garvey is from Jamaica. So when a man talk about Black History Month was created in America by, look at, the man who created Black History is a black man. We're not doing nationality, he's a black man. Yes, so we know, say, and we understand, say, Black History Month is a very relevant month. This is the time we must use it and reflect. Just like how Christians use Easter and reflect on the death of Jesus Christ. Just like how them use Valentine and reflect and say love, 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 love. Yes, we use Black History Month to reflect on our Africanness and the things them that we go through and the things them that we should want to be in at this time, yeah, knowing ourselves. So we continue the journey of reflection. That is what we call it, the journey of reflection. Reflecting of, at least what we call it, Sankofa. Sankofa, where you look back and see what you can do in the future or in the present. So Black History Month, very relevant, especially in Jamaica, when the people them so last, let me say it's a shadow, you know. If black is overwhelming, man, him just fade into the dark, man. What you mean? Out of dark come forth light. Out of black come forth white. A reality that. So as we say, Carter Woodson create what we call Black History Week. It's become Black History Month. You know, Miseducation of the Negro. Very good book to read. People don't read again, but we know so you can find it in what you call audio farms and all these things. So for those of you interested, go find that book. That is the man who authored that book, is the man who responsible for giving us. You know, some people say, why is it that Black History Month after being at the shortest month? You'll still all of them say that, you know, them still not do nothing when Black History Month come, you know. All of them say, then why we have to have Black History? Look here, Black History can't in 1 month, you know, but guess what? This is a time when you have to go introspective and look at certain things in yourself and say, watch out, we need to come know some African history. We need to come understand what is it that African people contribute to civilization, even though they make it sound like we don't contribute nothing to civilization, but we know, says like them I tell, and them write without a history. Yeah, them write without a history, we know that too. We write without a history in some terrible way, but we're not going to make it continue that way there. We're not going to make it continue. So we have people who, what we call now, indelibly put it down, not only in a book, but in a electronic media. Paul Bogle, one of the things them that we should remember. We should remember that man in Stony Gut, that man in Morant Bay, who walked from Morant Bay to Spanish Town more than one time too. Yes. So these men died, give them life to say African people in this part of the world can have some fear. Justice. But all we saying these things, we know that the slave mill still a grind slow. It a grind slow, but it still a grind. African people seem not to remember things. Them wash out with brains. But some people, them not care about them something there. Especially the youth them who in a certain position in a Jamaica, monetarily and financially, and them in a them job, and I look forward to move up into the society. Them not even interested in nothing where we are talking about Africa and, history and them something there. Because them live for the time and the moment. But it is really a disrespect for no say people come before you and do certain things that you can dare so. And then you don't even recognize them. You don't even recognize the work that them do. And it's very important that you recognize the work that them do. Because it's that work sustain your great-grandmother and your great-grandmother mother and your granny mother and now your mother, which is now. So we have to understand how the 360-degree event, the 360 event, really have something to do with you, because what goes around come around. And we know that eventually you will be an ancestor. And you would hope that your children recognize the work that you did for your grandchildren. And that is really very important. All grandfathers and grandmothers is happy when them say them grandchildren is moving ahead in life. And if those grandchildren don't remember them grandparents, well, the event of time will cut off, and then it will leave a very strange position, where we're just floating. Marcus Garvey said, people without a knowledge of them history is like a tree without root. So we want to stop the slave mill from grind continuously. We don't want it just a grind and a grind and a grind continuously. So that's man keep us sing the same thing over and over. Look how long Bob Marley then, and we still have to sing him song them and it come like it new. Them tune they should not play. Them should have hang up in a museum or I listen to a gramophone or a CD. But it is, you play it now and it's so relevant. So all of the things them was fought for, all those so-called heroes that came and fight. Why we still fighting after so much years when other nations is moving ahead? The problem with black people is that meanwhile other nations that teach them children about science and technology and agriculture and all them things there, we are teach our children how to read Bible and pray upon them knee. That's why the slave mill still a grind. We have a bridge in a antagonized way about Prince Emmanuel and where we never say and where we should have said and all them stuff there. And here comes now a brethren say, this is the time when the Ethiopian African Black International Congress, otherwise known as the Bubble House, is keeping them, what them call it, Christmas celebration. We have on the line here one of the brethren them responsible for the organizing of this. We want to hear them up. Hail, brethren.
Blessed Lord, Prophet Mota.
How you doing?
Give thanks and praise, my Lord.
Yes, give thanks. As we have said, very ironical that 2 weeks straight we were antagonized by a bubble. And now we have the eye on it. And we know so the eye is not an antagonist.
Yes, blessed, my Lord. is here to just speak what is true and what is right, you know?
I would first we could get into the celebration that the item going to have when this stronger Sunday.
Yes. Sunday the 7th of February.
All right, what is the celebration? Tell the people what is the celebration about.
This celebration is the celebration of the Ethiopia New Year's. We are establishing...
Oh, and we say Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas was January 7th.
7th, yeah. Oh, so we celebrate the same time with the Ethiopian then?
Yes.
Okay.
Also celebrate February 7th as Ethiopian New Year's Day.
Okay.
Yes. So that is what we'll be having 7 nights of Naya Bingi. Starting the 7th. To the,
that's off of Bobo Hill?
Yes, sir.
I'm not going to have it at Bobo Hill?
Yes, at the foundation at 10 miles, Bull Bay.
Okay, okay. So what farm it going to take? Tell me what farm it going to take.
It's going to take chanting, singing, people being refreshed, culture, a regular altar, 7 priests, Naya Bingi chanting, great reasoning.
Yeah.
Really,
So everyone is invited. Everyone is invited.
Everyone is invited.
Okay. And nobody now go run no data.
It's a thing for all black people, man. Because it's not a place for me. It's a place for all black people.
Yeah. But when I say, suppose a little data come up there in our pants and our bun up there and all them something there.
And let me introduce another priest, Eddie Samuel, who is here as well. And
no, you hear the question when I asked a while ago?
And I am Priest Lamont.
No, wait there. You hear the question when I asked?
Yeah. I'm going to tell you the answer. I'm going to answer you.
Okay, okay.
Yes. So, if she comes, we will admonish her, let her know the proper attire. And sometimes, because they come from far, we still would have to find a way. Sometimes the Empress League will give her something to wrap around herself, like a skirt.
Okay.
And then she'll be able to move around and to give her a headdress, a fall turban.
Yeah.
And, yes, but we try to accommodate them the best way we can.
Yeah, yeah.
To know that they are welcome home.
And this is 7 lights. 7 means 7 days.
7 days, yes, 7 days.
Okay. All right. As I mentioned before, and I mentioned it already, and I really want to give some clarity. A sister called me about 3 weeks ago and asked me who was Prince Emmanuel's mother and when he did born.
Yes.
No, I never know none of those answers. But I tell him, say I'm going to find out. I tell her I'm going to find out. Yeah. Anyway, I found out, and I was told that Prince Emmanuel was born in St. Elizabeth in 1915. But the person still never tell me what his mother did name or who was his mother. So, and this, she says, the question was went to King's house. And I said, yes, Prince Emmanuel, there's a picture with Prince Emmanuel shaking Haile Selassie hand. And then I go on to say, a whole heap of people shake His Majesty hand, meaning in King's house, it's not only Prince Emmanuel and alone in the chair. The Virgin take a virgin to that and him depper me for 2 weeks straight. He might cost me. So I decided, say, boy, I don't understand why nobody cost me because I say, I don't want to shake His Majesty. He must say, me should I tell him the date and really and truly, I have the picture, and the date up at the bottom, but I never know, so no, I didn't have to talk about the date, which is not what's important. The important thing is that the sister did want to know when Prince Emmanuel did born and who was his mother. And up to now, the Virgin no answer me. So I like the island guys some clarity on that.
Well, Prophet Mota, no, since I've been chatting with King Emmanuel, I have heard many stories, but no one has ever been able to tell who is King Emmanuel's mother or father. And I happen to know his eldest son, that is a man, elder man, would have been way probably about in his 80s now. Yes.
Yeah.
And he never mentioned his grandfather or his grandmother.
He never mentioned his grandmother and grandfather.
In the camp for many.
Yeah.
And
so why you think that was so? Why them never mention? That sound like Kamala Harris, who don't mention her father at all.
Well,
when you hear Kamala Harris, you know who Kamala Harris is, right?
Yes,
She's the Vice President of America now. She's Jamaican father and an Indian mother. But anytime she talk, there's no mention of her father. But we know that her father was born not born, but used to live in St. Anne. And a lot of people up in the area know that man. But she hardly mention him. So it come like a situation like that where there was no big relationship between the grandparents them and Prince Emmanuel's son.
Well, he never sound any way vindictive against anyone or that
no, but Kamala not sound vindictive against her father neither, you know.
Yeah.
It's just that people wonder how come she never mentioned him yet. You know? So who was the son mother? Who was the mother?
No, I don't know the son mother either.
Oh, you don't know neither. Okay.
No.
Because Prince Emmanuel would be about 100 and how much years old now? 100 and quite a whole heap a year.
About 105. No, I met that ancient elder about 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And she told me, she looked at one of the guidons that I was wearing.
Yeah.
I went to see it. Very small-bodied woman. Her head wrapped, you know, the ancient, long time old people wrap their head. And she said to me, but Prince Eddie looked the same way. She said, I know this man when I was a little girl.
Yeah.
This man well over 100 years old. That is what she said to me, right? I listened to that.
When she met him?
When I was talking with Jalide from the Bingi House.
You mean Jalide, where you go to Ethiopia?
Yes.
And pass in South Africa there, in Ethiopia, yeah.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And I asked him about Bakawal.
Yes.
And Bongaeli. And he told me, because I asked him how only come link up, how only Mbongo Eddie link up. Because I said to him, I heard that you were all in one accord.
Yeah, Plano too. Plano was there too.
Plano was there too. And that in Kocho and several elders from the Bingi House. Mm-hmm. It was the old Bingi. It was an international Bingi anyway. And I had to go there tonight to talk to Plano. As a matter of fact, Arthur Newland and myself took a time of a deeper Planner because he was feeling a little ill. And then in his tent. And when we got there, some young brethren tried to sway us away because we were wearing turban.
Oh, yeah. I let them go with.
So we still persisted and went up. And, I started reasoning with them. And I told them, just calm yourself down because we are Sabbath keepers. And Haile Selassie is a Sabbath keeper. So we have been doing nothing wrong. So, just hold your peace. And the reasoning started. And I asked him, and he was good to tell. He said, well, when we had tried the first two Rastafari organization, it never worked. It was mashed up by the beast. And, we were dejected. And the people left. And about 5 of them were at a cistern, a dry cistern, in Bakawal, looking. And he said, when they were getting set to bid each other goodbye after the massive crowd had left, he said they looked around and saw him behind them. It just coming down to dusk. And that's how they met. They know nothing about his mother or his father. And he said he was clever enough. He looked at us, he knew who was a good kettle man, and who was a good friend man, and who was a good chef. And he placed us in those offices. And he told me that they were all there under the one banner until 1966. He said they saw the plane, landed with His Majesty, and the rain fell, and it stopped, and the door opened, and it was so awesome because the door was in the mouth of the lion, and the Majesty stood at the door, and the red carpet was laid down and the whole charade. And he said when they saw the green, gold, and red on the plane, they were overwhelmed because the plane was the first they see a red, gold, and a plane in the color. And so the Majesty was in it, and it was the other way around.
It was an Ethiopian airline.
Yes.
Airplane, so it had red, gold, and green for it.
But it was green, gold, and red. And so the difference of the color created a division. And so King Emmanuel left and come to Bombay. So while we were there, they said they used some of them. The Bonages, some of them used to come and visit some of the times. But they had problems with being called a visitor. Because our principle is that when you come, if you don't live in the courts, you're a visitor. And they did not like to be called a visitor.
Yeah.
So I said that I don't see a problem with that. However, a chap was there, and he said to me, he asked them if they knew who he was. I had met him before in the Bronx. And they did not recognize him. And he said to them, I am the youngest elder in the Bingley house. And they asked him his name. And he said, I am something like 9. He said, I am the twin brother that was at Bakawal.
Yeah.
And then I was holding him up. And then we got back to the reasoning.
Okay.
And he said the reason he said to me, the day Bonga Eddie left Bakawal, it was a sad day.
Yeah.
And I was one of the few who continued to go after he decided that we could not drink beer and smoke craveny in the courts. And so that was one of the things that they did not like.
Okay.
But
all right.
One thing I asked them, why don't you tell these brethren that the red, gold, and green is something that you had acknowledged? And then again, I pointed out to him that night that what King Emmanuel is teaching us is the order of Haile Selassie, only because King Theodore changed the color for the benefit of the Queen and their perspective of it being red.
All right, wait. Stick up in there. Stick up in. According to the history, according to the history that I read and hear,
yes,
it was during the war with Mussolini that Haile Selassie turned the flag, we would have called upside down.
Yes.
It was during the time of the Mussolini war. The flag was turned the other way. And apparently the Bubba House keep it that way, the upside down flag. But really and truly, it was the other way around.
It was the red, gold, and green.
Ethiopia.
Was originally red, gold, and green.
It
was originally red, gold, and green.
It was the red at the bottom.
No, it was originally the red at the top. And then they turned it around to put the red at the bottom. I
am telling you that what I heard is that when the red went up at the top was because Haile Selassie turned the flag around during the time of war.
It was originally down.
When King Emmanuel
in other
sent
words,
the
it was red at the bottom. It was red at the bottom. All right, the Bobo fly the flag with the red at the top, right?
Yes.
All right.
Because that's
What I am
original
saying
way.
to you is that the flag is red at the bottom, gold in the middle, and green at the top. And Haile Selassie turned it around during the Ethiopian War,
Okay.
signifying that Ethiopia was at war.
So when he turned back.
So then, that's a fair. Now listen to what happened now. When King Emmanuel sent a delegation to Ethiopia
Yes.
to reason with the Minister of State and Culture, at the time it was His Majesty's granddaughter, when the delegation got to Ethiopia to show them that Menelik II, long before the Ethiopian War, had it as red, gold, and green. And they did not realize that. And they went to the archives. And when they went to the archives, they found that it was the red, gold, and green.
But why was Haile Selassie flying the flag with the red at the bottom? Why was he flying the flag at the red at the bottom?
Why is it flying with the red at the bottom?
Yeah, Haile Selassie, the flag of Ethiopia that Haile Selassie raised was the red at the bottom.
It was just inherited the red at the bottom.
Eh?
He did not put it at the bottom. He inherited it with the red at the bottom.
Yeah, so why is it that we shouldn't fly it with the red at the bottom then? If Haile Selassie fly it that way. And so Haile Selassie fly it, why shouldn't we fly it that way? Eh? Hello? Hello? It cut off. Child says you can't get them back for me. Yes, as we said, this is Black History Month. And you hear of the celebration from the Ethiopian African Black International Congress. Otherwise, them call them the Bobo House from way over there, so in a bull beer. We'll be having them celebration. Yes, they will have them New Year celebration on the 7th of February, which is this Sunday, right up there. And all is invited. As you hear the Virgin say, all is invited. We're talking to members of the Ethiopian African Black International Congress. ELI, the Virgin name there again?
Oh, bless and love, my Lord.
Yeah, all right. You said that Haile Selassie inherited the flag. That
with the green at the bottom, with the red at the bottom.
Yes, I am asking you, why shouldn't we fly it like how Haile Selassie fly it? Because Haile Selassie inherited a whole heap of things, so why wouldn't we fly the flag with the red at the bottom like how Haile Selassie fly it?
I think I showed you this once already when he came to the camp in Abuja. That in the autobiography,
when you say about the camp?
Pointed out that the red, the gold, when he spoke, and the footnote, I showed you that. The footnote said, in a time when the color was a controversy, His Majesty made sure to say the red, the gold, and the green, not the green, the gold, and the red. That means something. And spectacularly, Muta, when they went to the archives, they saw that. When the Bingi came to the Bobo Hill, the Sunday night after the Bingi was closed, and we were telling them that because we had a big discussion about it, and Planner and everyone was there. You probably were there too. Remember that Ross Eric Walde was in the congregation, and I had met him downtown from the RCO. And while we were talking, one of the priests that was in Ethiopia said, "There's the man that was in Ethiopia at the time when we went to the archives." And I said, "Who's that man?" And he was sitting quite in the back of the congregation. And I said, "Ross, could you please stand up for the congregation, sir?" Honorable. And he stood up. And I said, "This virgin identified you as a man that was in Ethiopia when they went to the archives with His Majesty's granddaughter." And he said, "Yes, I was there, and I went with them, and we saw it, that it was red, gold, and green."
All right. Ask you, have you ever seen a picture with His Majesty flying the Ethiopian flag with the red at the top?
I have heard from an Ethiopian.
No, wait there.
No, I never saw it.
Here, because we see a whole heap of...
No, but an eyewitness, I have a lot of eyewitness accounts. I have accounts of people that have lived in the palace.
No, may I ask you, if you have ever seen His Majesty with the flag, with the red at the top?
No.
Have you ever seen His Majesty with the red at the bottom?
I have seen a lot of emblems, but I've never seen him with a flag. I've never seen him with a flag.
Okay, all right. You never seen him with an emblem. The emblem that him have on, where the red situate, at the top or at the bottom?
The red is at the bottom because that's
all right.
It has it now.
All right, so we have
remember that in a motor. Remember that we are it's the ancient teaching of the Melchizedek. We are talking about.
No, but Melchizedek never used to fly the Ethiopian flag. That is a Bible story. It's a Bible mythology that.
But we identify the Melchizedek in this time, Muta. Remember we
wait the brethren. Wait there. I don't want the flag again be a sticking point because years now the flag is a sticking point.
Yes.
Like years.
But we clear up that because
we are on the sticking point still. We're going to Melchizedek and we're not talking about no Melchizedek. Melchizedek is a mythology. We're talking about Haile Selassie and where we see Haile Selassie do. I have never seen a picture with His Majesty with the flag, the red upon the top. And I was told that it was during the time of the war that the Majesty turned the flag around. But most of the time when I see a picture and when I go to Ethiopia, during when the lion did in the middle, the red was at the bottom. No, I do have no problem with that one to fly the red on the top, you know. But apparently it seemed to be a political, it seemed to be a political sticking point. If the red must be at the top or the red must be at the bottom. Okay. Because you know, the flag will have the lion again. The flag will have the lion again in Ethiopia, you know. You know that?
You see that?
Yeah, which is a terrible thing. That terrible thing. Guys blew it there.
But look here. Yeah. We passed that. We own the red, gold, and green as the churchical banner. And who fly the green, gold, and red? Go to them still. The point is, we have learned. You know what I see with Rastafari today? When we come about a young Rastafari, me with the stadium could have gone and scotch pass and link their mic and yellow petrol and never have a turban, and that to me is
nobody knows nothing.
Mr. Bobo and Bingy I live as one. So we don't really have no problem.
True. I go back to Prince Emmanuel. Yeah. Right? Me like the order of the Bobo House, the order, right?
Yeah.
And we see that there is always a push for repatriation and reparation in the house. As a matter of fact, Prince Emmanuel was the first one we would have called to vanguard that move. Repatriation and reparation.
I glad you said that, for real.
No, yeah, them don't know, they did it from them time. So I ask you now, since the passing of Prince Emmanuel, what has the brethren them been doing in order to facilitate the progressive move of what Prince Emmanuel left for the item to take up? What the item have been doing?
Most of them say, smite the shepherd and scatter the sheep. We still see Jah with us, even though he might not be seated as in those days.
Yeah, of course. We'll on the bridge. We'll stick up. We have to come to our advertisement. We'll come forward with the reasoning. So she never take the advertisement and come forward. We're talking to the bridge and them from the Ethiopian Ethiopian African Black International Congress. So the bridge was talking about the movement of the house since Prince Emmanuel passed, and as it relates to reparation and repatriation, what is being done now with the brethren and the sister in them in the house. Yes, brethren?
Yes, brethren, blessed. Yes, I at this moment, we are really re-gelling ourselves as, you know, to really get the oneness, you know, at a higher height, that we can really now do things, because we're really aiming now to bring the salvation to the nation. So, because remember that our philosophy, our teaching, the teaching of the Black Christ is salvation, repatriation and reparation through one man voice and power, through the righteousness of salvation. Because this is every other way is bloodshed, murder, death, anarchy, and all manner of things. Because there are so many things that I've tried. It is the church, government, all manner of societies have tried, and there's nothing getting better. So I see now that the black salvation needs to be taught to people, that them can have a love for them black self, to know that them have a divine link to the black Adonai God, and they are not just Jalam boy, dogs and shatters, but they are kings and prophets and priests and empresses, you know, and princes and princesses, and come unto the teaching of the black self, learning to praise the black God of salvation, the God of Zion, Jehovah the Most High, Emperor Haile Selassie, Holy John Marcus I, Holy King Emmanuel I, the Adonai God. King Emmanuel the Seventh, Adonai God, Jah Rastafari. When the people know that, then the people will stop killing each other. Then the people will love each other more, because the people will learn to sing praises unto the black God and unto themselves. Because when you praise the black God of salvation, you're praising yourself. You learn to see value in yourself. And you learn to know that you work 6 days and the Lord give you a day of rest. And you go and lay down everything and go sing praises and shake a shaker and rock your marabingi and see yourself. And see
so I say, hold on. All right. Give me a chance, you know. So I say that the works that Prince Emmanuel do, which is in terms of soliciting the Queen, writing letters and all these things, they them continue it by just telling the people them to praise Haile Selassie and Prince Emmanuel and Marcus Garvey. That is where the them work is good now. The work now is to do that.
The agitation continues.
To get repatriation and reparation.
You said the right thing already in Muta. You said the work that him do. Jah don't talk already.
So you don't have to do nothing now. You don't have to do nothing more than prayer. So you say you don't have to do nothing no more than prayer.
No. What we don't pray with eyes closed. You see me earlier on, you know, that the slave mill grind on because the people them are kneel down and pray. It's not just because them are pray, but because them are pray with them eyes shut.
Yeah, but when I say, we're not about, all right. We don't want to delve in the prayer and pray. What I talk about is that there's some work that needs to be done, right? And Prince Emmanuel start the work. And you are telling me, say, no, the work, the only thing that is left for the work go through is to tell the people them to praise Haile Selassie, Prince Emmanuel and Marcus.
Certainly not. No, we teach the people them that they must be industrious. They must be educated.
Yeah, like what? Like when you say industrious, like what?
Industrious?
Yeah, like when you say industrious, like what?
Unite itself. We have starting to unite toward the building of ourselves, of Africa.
All right, so let me ask you now. What the item do in terms of industry in the bubble house now? Because I remember when I just come as Rasta, Bobo was identified with them turban and robe and broom. So in terms of the evolution of the industry now, what is the collective thing them that the Bobo them doing now that we can say this is an industry that is moving forward for even the children them whenever they are 10 years ago, 5 years ago? What is it that the item is putting in place industrial-wise, so that the youth them now can say, this is where we inherit, this is where we're supposed to continue with.
Apart from broom, we have so many other things that the youth are very skillful in several other areas of craft.
Like what?
You have bubble that makes sandals,
Right.
bubble that make guidances, bubble that make crochet craft.
So how we don't see them on the road again? How we don't see Bubba on the road again?
Yeah, Bubba still got you, man. Maybe
No, I don't got you. Wait a man. I can tell you. The beauty, the physical manifestation of the beauty of Rastafari to I is when I see a Bubba. You understand?
Yeah.
So I don't know what the next one, you know. But when I see the integrity that I see Bubba walk with them turban and robe and them something there, I say, see Rasta there. It's just some man now come twat it up. Me say, a brother, a little idiot brother make video now with him turban on him head and it's a disgrace. It's terrible when me see that. You know, it's like me, I say, but wait. I wonder if a Bubba see that. I wonder if the Bubba them in the hill will see that. If them would have to draft him up and all them. Anyway, what me I say is that the integrity of the Bubba, I always perceive Bubba, right? I don't see it again. The turban, the sandals, all of them things, the crafting and all them, something that we used to say out there as an industry. I don't see it a flow like first time. I know it should have flow. Because no more than ever we need some finance to protect the youth, them, the age for protected, and the infant for care for. And the house there still maintain itself. We did have 12 tribe and 12 tribe gone, right? We still have Bubba. So even though Brother Gad passed away, and 12 tribe kind of dulled down to more like stage show and party, we see the Bubba house still maintain itself, even though Prince Emmanuel not there physically. But there must be some industrial thing that are not even industrial, most like industrial, but there's more than industry. There's agro-industry. They have a farm. Yeah,
we have a couple farms, man. We have a couple farms.
No, I don't mean individual, you know. I don't mean individual. I mean the Bubba house. I don't mean individual.
You have a farm where several Bubba in the foundation.
No, I'm not talking about an individual Bubba, you know. I'm talking about the collective. We can supply food for the collective.
We have other places in Jamaica, not specifically up there, but we have other farms.
No, I know, but me just say, it don't matter if I'm up there. Because up there, little place. Bubba have a farm, the house.
You know, have a farm, so the house have a farm, but you have priests.
No, but at the house, me talk about individual. Collectively, the house supposed to have a farm. Collectively. Me can't say our house can do so.
That is something we discuss up to this evening.
But that should not discuss now. That should have cost 5, 6, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, a big farm.
No, man. But I remember we used to have big farm, you know. I just said things.
So we're used to what happened. So everyone gone to America.
So that's why we have got to do it forward. Remember, you just say, you know, whenever there is a shift in a system, like you mentioned, say, a man passed and the system there. We still have to give glory to the fact that I is moving on still strongly from lowland to highland. And there are things that might have been not as prolific as it used to be, but they are still happening. And whilst it's happening, we can always improve it, which is what's happening right now. We're improving everything. Yeah.
Well, Brethren, I really love the Bubba house. I feel that the item all the vibes. So I love the chant them. I remember I went to War Theatre the last, I don't remember which year the celebration was. When the celebration at Keep a War Theatre.
1999.
All right. And the thing when I play, I know it's from that. The chant where you will play is from that.
Yeah,
you know? And I can't forget the time when Prince Emmanuel did give me the opportunity to put the house on the cutting edge down IRFM, and the whole house come with the bus and everything.
Yeah, man.
It was really something.
I was there.
I was there.
Yes, man.
Yeah, man. It was really a joy for that happen still. So I have great respect for the Bubba House. But to be honest with you, I don't like some of the reasons that it kind of sound like it a draw it back. Some of the things them a draw it back, you know. It a keep you back in a some little religious rituals and religious affairs rather than.
No, we don't deal with religion. We don't deal with religion.
Yeah, but that everybody has said they don't deal with religion and them talk about Melchizedek and Bible and them something there. Every time a man say nah deal with religion, them start to call Bible. Then why is what that? Judaism a religion, Christianity a religion.
But it can also be salvation and divinity.
Yes, salvation and divinity. That is something where people use by faith. You know, faith is where carry religion.
But the real thing is must happen by liberty.
Yeah, but I'm tired to hear people say them not religious. And every time you talk to them, I quote the Bible. Like so we not have something for quote from.
You can quote from Marcus Garvey too. From the black.
It's more important.
Right.
Yeah, it's more important that you quote Marcus Garvey than you quote Melchizedek and Adam and Eve and all them story there. You know, to me personally, I don't know what your next one.
Marcus is another man. His Majesty is another man. So
I know.
we around them three men there.
But I would have preferred if a man tell I about Haile Selassie, and tell I about Marcus Garvey, and tell I about Prince Emmanuel, more than I tell I about some man in the Bible.
But Prince Emmanuel is one of those man that is in the Bible.
Oh, I not see them in the Bible. I not see them in the Bible. That is where interpretation brings. That is where interpretation brings. That is what interpretation brings. You carry the thing nearer to you by using the Bible to justify what you are saying. Anyway.
Not specifically. Because there are many things that you interpret that is not anything that is led astray. So interpretation, there's nothing wrong about interpreting something.
Yeah, because the interpretation sometimes leads to some supernatural talking.
That is sometimes, but what I'm doing it leads you to the path of truth and the road of right.
Like what? Like Melchizedek?
Yeah. Like, yes, King Emmanuel, who come with the
no, Melchizedek in the Bible where them say neither have mother nor father nor beginning nor end of days.
Yeah.
You really believe that, brethren?
Do not believe. Beloved.
You know some man the part earth will never have mother nor father?
Nothing is hard about that.
No, may I ask you, you really believe say a man born without a woman or a man in the earth?
Who said that?
Who said that?
The Bible says Melchizedek,
that man that you are talking about,
the high priest of Salem, you know, the high priest of Salem, Melchizedek, neither have mother nor father nor beginning nor end of days.
Who is that man?
Who is which man? No, mythology is a mythology. It's a story. It's a story where them bring up. It's not nothing to do with nothing more than a mythology. There's no man that never born of a woman and a man.
That is your interpretation.
Eh?
That is your interpretation.
I'm not interpreting it. I'm not interpreting it. I'm not interpreting it. You hear me? I interpret Melchizedek. The Bible says it. The Bible says Melchizedek, the high priest of Salem, neither have mother nor father nor beginning of end.
The mythology.
They're not mythology. They're not mythology. It's an allegory. It means there's no man for earth to never have a mother or father.
What happens to the next man who can see the reality of it?
Reality of what? All right, interpret it to me. Interpret it to me. Interpret it.
You're talking about the divine master.
Melchizedek, the high priest of the king of Salem. In the Bible, me I talk about the one in the Bible.
Me talking about the one now, the King Emmanuel who...
No. Only get it from the Bible. Only get it from the Bible. If the Bible never said it, you wouldn't say it. It comes from the Bible. The quote said, Melchizedek, the high priest of Salem, neither have mother nor father nor beginning nor end of days.
Blessed, my Lord.
Yes, sir. Yes, blessed. Rasta. Sorry about this, sir, but anyway. Talk, man. I like how you laugh. I like how you laugh. I like how you laugh. You make me laugh, which is a joy. It's a joy when a mother laugh and make me laugh, you know. It's a joy. Yeah.
Yes, beloved. Give thanks again, man.
Yeah, man.
You see, Melchizedek Majesty, it's a mystery, you know.
All right, tell me the mystery.
Not a myth, a mystery.
All right, tell me the mystery.
In the book of St. John, right? In the beginning was the Word.
Yes.
The Word was with
God.
The Word is
God. And it can be flesh and dwell amongst man. Yeah.
And dwell
it dwell amongst man. Yes.
In man. Oh, you that talk to me this night.
Yeah, so may I ask you now.
Yeah.
Connect Melchizedek to what you just quote.
Melchizedek is the owner of a word sound.
The man who was the king of Salem.
Yeah.
High priest of Salem.
Power. The man who is the owner of a word sound power.
So him is a real man, like me and you, physical man.
Yes, beloved.
And he neither have mother nor father.
Because the word not have no father nor no mother.
No, the man. We don't tell me about no word. The man.
You know the man, then my lord.
No, wait there.
The word take unto himself flesh and dwell in man.
Yeah, no, may I ask you, if the man who was the high priest of Salem, in the Bible, where they tell you about, the man named Melchizedek, physical man.
Who Abraham met.
Yeah, and the way. Yeah, so I meet him. Like you tell me, said that man neither have no mother nor no father.
Yeah.
All right.
Yet is a man. Yet is a little man.
All right, hold it. Because you can't, you're not going to come out of that. You're not going to come out of that.
What?
You can't hold that. All right.
This said man, Melchizedek is the said man, Jesus, the Christ of Nazareth.
Yeah.
The black king of the Jew.
Okay.
The true Jew.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have to move now, though. We have to move.
Give thanks.
We give thanks to this conversation, still, you know.
Yeah, because that's why we have a face-to-face, you know, where Jai can be full, you know.
No, man, you make me laugh, man, so that good.
All right, beloved. Then a joy will come with, man. A joy, man. What a joy, you know.
Yeah. And like that, brother, I raise up my blood pressure. I tell you, that brother raise up my blood pressure.
Because he's a brother, man. I is royal priest, man.
You didn't hear him? You
know?
You didn't hear him?
Of the divine order of Melchizedek. Yeah,
no, I'm not asking if you didn't hear him. You didn't hear him?
Ceaseless.
Eh?
Now you're being ceaseless.
No, I'm not asking if you didn't hear the brother, the brethren. You didn't hear him?
I don't know who they are talking, brethren.
The brethren who didn't call me 2 weeks ago, 2 times and called me.
From where?
Eh? I don't know where I called from.
Oh.
It was an antagonized line.
I'm saying he's a prophet or a priest.
We got it over here. I got here. Give thanks.
Mine where you gone.
Eh?
Mine where you gone, see?
I see, you're going to make the reason turn out bad now, you know. I could just leave it at where it is.
Beloved, blessed that.
Yeah, Rastafari.
Blessed that, beloved.
Well, you know that we're still into Black History Month. As a matter of fact, Black History Month just start. You understand? And we celebrate Black History Month. No matter what nobody wants to say. We see the relevance of Black History Month. We're not going to make them tell you, say, Black History Month is a foreign. Not a foreign thing. It's our thing. I throw it away. You understand? So we not going to throw it away. We are keep the fire blazing as it relates to Black History Month. Because guess what? In all we go on with African people, we survive. We survive the water grave of the Atlantic Ocean. We survive the whipping and the lashing and the piss and all the things that we them bring for with the blood, the sweat and the tears. We survive And we're there still to tell the tale. Them things that we weren't there, but we're still there. So we're not going to make no one twist around the brains again. You understand? Wake up, African people. Wake up. We make mention briefly a while ago about some artists who have tried denigrate Bobo House and Rastafari with them whole heap of little frivolous videos where them make. And them not see nothing wrong with it. That is the problem. Them not see nothing wrong with it. We never know say to that reach there, so. Never know to that reach there, so at all. When you have man who wrap up them head and go in a video with whole heap of naked woman and flaunt himself over him and him and flaunt himself over them. And him not see nothing funny about it. Him not see nothing funny about it. I don't understand it. I don't understand how one who carry Rastafari in him head, supposedly, and in him pan him head, supposedly, reach that stage there. I mean, I know man will do other things. But then, eventually, them decide, say, boy, them not bother with it. You know, but I guess it's another generation again, because you have man, reggae artists in them time that they do certain things where we would never know, so Rasta would do it still. But they never put it on video to make it become indelible. Because that indelible, no care with them brother, they don't know. It's indelible. Indelible. The amount of repeat and repeat where it gets indelible. So you can't take that off again, you know, because it gone. It gone. So me don't know. Rastafari is a revolutionary group of ones we're supposed to search for the liberation of African people all over the world. African people. We're supposed to educate, inform, and liberty. We're supposed to live certain way that when people see them can say, wait, Virgin has survived in a room, yeah, man. Yeah, because we can survive. We survive in anywhere. Then if we survive the Atlantic Ocean, where else we can't survive? We survive them wooden ship. We're under the ship them like sardine for months and months end. We survive, man. We survive. So when it look like, say, things done, we're still there. And now, man, I come turn it in a way, you know, where it look frivolous. Like, it was frivolous. You know, it's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke. I don't know what's going to happen. But, you know, yes, I don't say it go. We, the on the radio, try to get certain one's head in a certain perspective because we realize a whole heap of we get washed, our brains get washed. And we daily try for years we try and we get through. We know a whole heap of ones after listening to ones like I, and even though Cabo is not a Rasta, but she show herself as an African who is a Pan-Africanist who are show the people them certain things. You have others too. So after we are show the people them certain things, and even the sister them are try to get the sister them out of certain conditioning and vibration, you have man will look like me. You have man will look like me. Yes, and I tell you say, well, not so handsome, uglier than me. I put the people them in some twist and turn. You know, twist and turn, how that go? How them for do that? How them for do that? You understand? We're supposed to take the ones them out of the quagmire of madness and craziness. And now we are going down in the abyss with them. After we are trying to pull them out, and really take out them brains out of the washing machine. And we see man I put them in there, and I put himself in there too. Oh man, terrible. When last you take up a book and read it. When last you go up on your iPhone and find something of interest as it relates to African people and really listen to it and watch it. We need to do that, you know. We need to do it. We need to make even we picnic them have a time when them can really analyze with themselves situations that we get confronted with. Because right now the thing rough out there where we don't see it. Me not have to say it. It's rough out there. And them there them yard. Because all the them go there and listen to me now. Take up a book, man. Take up a book. When I talk about your regular school book, or take your laptop and search, put in the search, Google historians, black historians, or things that relate to Africa. Just put it in your Google search and check it out. You'll be pleasantly surprised, man. Because you can't say no again, you know. You can't say no again. Anything where you want to know, anything where you want to know, you put it, you Google it, and you find it come up straight for you. It's like the man knows that you personally want to know about that or see it. Yeah, man. And we have to come learn that from our own. Right, you know, talk about the black hole in the sky and darkness. Out of darkness come forth light. And we have to come learn that from our own, man. All of those little figurative languages that we hear in a them time there. We never know, say, we could have come now, come decipher it. Yeah, come decipher it. You know, the pyramids, white people, true, them not understand how it make them want to say, they say some space people make it, and then them have black people start to say it too. Yeah, man, them have black people start to say it too. It's like how you have some people that talk about the world flat. We gone back in a Christopher Columbus craziness. After we come see cosmology, you know, and come show us and realize certain things, where the man them in the Timbuktu, in a door guns. Google the door guns and see what you say. The door guns out of Mali, who could have looked in at the stars and see the configuration of the stars them and see how it relates to certain things. You understand? Real things when I talk about not like a supernatural thing. And when man can't explain and comprehend what them seeing or what them hearing, them start to give it over to some supernatural being. When them can't explain it. A man can't explain something now, it become mysterious to him. We have to come out of that because everything can be explained. It's just that the knowledge not reach your brains yet, but everything can be explained naturally. Naturally. When people put a whole heap of little language, metaphors and allegories and mythologies for certain things, it can be explained. But it's a whole heap of the things them come to a second and third and fourth and fifth and we never really go there go find out how it start, the beginning of the thing. It's very important that we find out the beginning of a lot of these stories that was told to us. A lot of these stories. And them use certain things to mask it, just like how we talk about Brother Nancy. Nobody thinks they're a spider talk. Nobody. These religious people are talking about Joshua command son to stand still and donkey attack to people and all them something there. A man a throw down rather than a ton snake. Them believe those things, but when we tell them about Brother Nancy out of the Atlantic Kingdom in Ghana, them a say, no, go so. When we tell them, say, them have stories in Ghana that the golden stool out of the sky come from, and the chief them, the female them decide who are going to sit down upon it. In the Jewish tradition, them have something named the Ark of the Covenant, where them say represent the presence of God. And we now start to accept these little peripheral stories, and deny our African-centered perspective that is really ours, not what people give away. People give away things to enslave, will carry us back into slavery. When everybody talk about how to develop science and how to deal with technology and everything, that we sit down and bend down and pray. And when us say the prayer not working, look how much criminality and crime are going on in Jamaica. Look how much prayers are go up. A man going to church, go kill a man. In a Harbour View, years ago, a man going to the church and go kill people in there. You know, see it? A man a pray about COVID, and him can't pray with the COVID. Him can't go in the hospital and the man get with the COVID. So that is how deep the brainwashing is. Deep. Pacify way. The stories in the New Testament pacify way, man. Would have fight, but because them say this and that and turn and that cheek and all them something, pacify way. Black people, we're in a serious situation, a serious position. Instead of we get up for do for ourselves, we are trying to make other people do it for we. And the people who want do it for we, do have all we into consideration, nor our parents, nor our foreparents into consideration, nor our children. So them carry go a thing in school and university for indoctrinate rather than educate we. And when we come out of school, we set ourselves right in. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. And we is one of the part them that fit into the jigsaw puzzle. We fit into it because we have them education or them indoctrination in a way. And when we hear ourselves, when we see ourselves, we start to condemn it. When we hear about Africa, it's like a bad word, Africa. When you talk about Africa, pay people and young people and cuss people and war with people in Africa. And them not realize that white people kill white people more than anybody else in the world kill themselves. That is a reality. We say it again and we say it again and we say it again. The wickedest war them was fought was World War I and World War II, where millions of white people have killed millions of white people. The Germans them go ban London, the French this go bomb that, and kill one another. But all we can hear, boy, black wicked, you go black or kill black. Every human being kill every human being. But guess what? And every human being group take people from them land and enslave them and take with them land and try to wipe them out. But guess what? We survive. We survive. So we have to really understand how it goes. Because if we had known then what we know now, trust me, it would be a different thing if we had known then what we know now. This is the cutting edge. That message they will come with, you know. Educate yourself, African. Liberate yourself, African. That's the message of the night, you know. Yes. You know, this Black History Month, you have to educate yourself and liberate yourself. We're not talking about schoolwork, you know. We are talking about the knowledge of self. Because we don't really see the love we're supposed to have for ourselves because we despise how we look most of the time. You can tell that by the sister them how them look on the street. You know, so them despise themselves. You know, see it? Them was made or was given to the world by their mother and father. And them change all sort of things just to get acceptance. Them have to get acceptance. That is really what is the thing. Them don't accept themselves. If you don't accept yourself, it's only a little mirror. When you hear somebody talk about, you look good, you know, you look this and you look that. It's mirror. It's mirror. Yes. It's not a real thing in the glass. It's just yourself looking back at you. And you look fine. You look fine, man. You're with all the little this and the little that. But it's like a sepulchre. It's like a graveyard. When you put the coffin with the dead body in the hole and then put flowers on top of flowers on it. The outside look good, but inside is a dead body. People hear about the symbols referred to in the song and see it as devil symbols. Yeah, man. Because when we know about all the obliques, you know, the Washington Monument is patterned off an Egyptian oblique. Even in Ethiopia, which is almost like a phallic symbol. For those of you who don't know what a phallic symbol is, a phallic symbol represents an erected penis. Yes. And that obliques, what is in Washington, was designed for the Egyptian obliques them, which is also in Ethiopia, which them stole one and carried go Italy. And I think them carried back. But a lot of symbols, African symbols, is recognized as devil worship. And we can speak of one like the Ankh, A-N-K-H, Ankh. The Ankh, that is a whole heap of one who claim consciousness instead of wearing a cross around them neck. Like myself, who wear an Ankh, and an Ankh represents life. And the beauty about the Ankh is that it represents the womb of the woman and the man. The woman and the man, the womb of the woman, and also the phallic symbol of the man. If you look on it, it's not a cross, where them say Jesus Christ died on a cross. And why most people wear the cross is because the Christian them teach them about Jesus dead on a cross. And you know, there's a part in the Bible that says Jesus Christ was hanged on a tree. We have to figure out where he was. Was he on a tree or was he in Golgotha? Golgotha is a place in Jerusalem, them call it the Rock of Skulls. But the Ankh represents something much more meaningful than the cross. Because when I used to go to church, I hear them say the cross represents suffering and shame because Jesus Christ died upon the cross and suffered in shame. Well, we want to wear something that is suffering and shame around them neck. I am wondering if they had electrocuted Jesus Christ, if everybody would wear a electrical chair around them neck. Or if them would hang him with a rope, which is that part of the Bible say, if them would walk with a rope around them neck. Because it's an emblem of suffering and shame. And we come to the Ankh as a liberating force, as a force where carry us forward way into the Kemetic line. And now we hear says a devil symbol. That is what them always do. Them take with things and demonize it like how Hitler take the swastika. The swastika is not European. You can look in at Ghana and see one of the Adinkra symbols with the Adinkra symbol as a swastika turned the other way. And there is Adinkra symbols in the windows of the Lalibela churches. Yes, some of the windows them have the Adinkra symbol, as we call the Adinkra symbol, but it's really something further than that. It's like the sun. In the church of Lalibela in Ethiopia, you see that symbol. And then now we see Hitler with that symbol. And people are scared if you start to walk up and down with that symbol. And if you tell them says he's not no white supremacist, or he's not hailing Hitler, them don't care about that. Them don't care about that. Because we recognize and we understand the meaning of those symbols. It's an African thing. But we were not taught that. So when we wear it, we get demonized and then we don't want to wear it, but they make we wear a cross. What the hell you have a cross on your neck for? It's a suffering and shame. Why would you want to wear something that is a suffering and shame around your neck? You know why you wear it? Because you don't know what it is. You're following fashion. You're following something that they gave you, and you never investigate it. You never investigate why you have a cross on your neck. All you know is that Jesus died on a cross. So everybody wants to have a dead man upon a little cross around him neck. Some of them call rosary. Where the Roman Catholic them have around them neck, the rosary. Terrible thing how them brainwash we. And we still continuing that brainwashing. The symbols is very important to the advancement of a certain kind of people over next people. The control and the manipulation of a people. Part of it is the control by using symbols. Symbols is very important to certain things. Because when you can't read, they put symbols to make you understand the symbols rather than putting letters and words. Then put symbols. And symbols is very important in control. Yes, you can't talk about stoplight. You can't talk about the little, when you drive on the highway, you see some little triangle and them know it says falling rocks. This is the cutting edge. Who wrote the Bible? Who wrote the Quran? Who wrote all of these books? We are told that it was divinely inspired by men of old. Oh, we know that. Oh, we know the intentions. Because we interpret. That's all we're doing, interpret and hold it by faith. So when we look on the situation now, we have a choice between Africa and America. If you check the youth them again, you see the youth them want to go to America, the land of opportunity and bliss. Most of them are dream about America. Them not dream about Africa. Most youth not dream about Africa. Them don't even know what to dream about if them say Africa. All them know is when them see on television about Africa. You know, them not see no life in Africa. You understand? Them just hear say over there poor and suffering and thing. Did you know when them say Haiti is the poorest country on earth, them say 80 have 10 million people, and guess what? Jamaica have more coronavirus cases than Haiti. Think about that. Think about that.
Too late, said Mutabaruka sadly. Our own men and our sons have joined the ranks of the stranger. They have joined his religion, and they help to uphold his government. If we should try to drive out the white men in Umuofia, we should find it easy. There are only 2 of them. But what of our own people who are following their way and have been given power? They would go to Umuru and bring the soldiers, and we would be like Abame. He paused for a long time and then said, I told you on my last visit to Mbanta how they hanged Aneto. What has happened to that piece of land in dispute? Asked Okonkwo. The white man's court has decided that it should belong to Nama's family, who had given much money to the white man's messengers and interpreter. Does the white man understand our custom about land? How can he, when he does not even speak our tongue? But he says that our customs are bad, and our own brothers who have taken up his religion also say that our customs are bad. How do you think we can fight when our own brothers have turned against us? The white man is very clever. He came peaceably and quietly with his religion. We were amused at his foolishness and allowed him to stay. Now he has won our brothers, and our clan can no longer act like one. He has put a knife on the things that held us together, and we have fallen apart.
The Council of Nicaea was an effort by Constantine to control the people through military and through religion. Whoever can control your concept of God has a weapon more powerful than any physical weapon, than any sword, any gun, any atomic weapon. Whoever controls how you relate to the unseen presence of God will not only control you, but can control your children, and your children's children. So it was at the Council of Nicaea that the Constantine, this emperor, needed to find a way to consolidate his power, because the people that he conquered in various parts of the world had different religions, different ideologies. And it was at Nicaea where he brought together these theologians, these scholars, if you will, to hammer out one uniform theology that everyone would follow.
And if Constantine could convince people to take Jesus as God on earth and change that he was a human being, then they could take over the control of the Catholic Church and make one. So they invited. And one of the priests was an African known as Arius. Bishop Arius. There's a book called Blacks Who Died for Jesus by Mark Hyman. Gives the story of Arius. Arius now gets word that Constantine knows Arius is coming to dispute this. Because he's saying, how are you going to tell people this? Nobody's going to believe that story. That Immaculate Conception, come on. You know, that's written on the walls of Egypt. That's a mythology. That's an analogy. You're not supposed to believe that story. That's a nice story to live by, that each and every one of us has Jesus within us and every birth is an Immaculate Conception. But there was no one boy born as the Son of God to freak. Come on, you can't. Constantine said, look, come on over here. Nicaea, I'm going to talk to you. He found out that he was going to be assassinated. So he fled into Europe with his followers. Arius and his followers became known as the Arians. Wouldn't Hitler have a heart attack if he knew who the real Arians were? They were a bunch of black folk.
Everybody who was worshiping ISIS and dealing with mostly a Kemetic religious philosophy, they said, we can't do this. This is ridiculous. This reminds me, there's no man called Jesus Christ. We ain't never heard of him. Well, Jesus Christ will take Jesus, which was the sun god in the West, and we'll take Christos, which was the sun god in the East, and we'll put them together. We'll have a name. And so what did he do? A man named Apollonius of Tyana, at that time, who had studied philosophy in Kemet, was teaching. He was a healer, working miracles. He was a hero at that time. So he became the template for Jesus Christ.
Most of our things stupid still. So here we are saying, no, we're going to come forward at 2 o'clock, you know, with the stepping razor, the art of war. When you up Shane, you know, you're Shane, you hold the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. We give thanks to that. We'll be back here a little more from this. We give thanks to those who was with us last night and is still with us. It's always a good feeling for know say people listen till 2 o'clock last night and then come back 2 o'clock today and I listen. So we will continue the journey.